It's time for the moment you've been waiting for.
I'm cooking tomato egg soup. It's the only recipe that I really know super well. I already made the noodles. They're just kind of like a, oh god, they're already scuffed. They're just kind of like a Taiwanese wheat noodle that I found at either H Mart or Ranch 99. The core of this recipe is eggs and tomatoes, and that's it. What's the tea tonight? There is no tea tonight, unfortunately. I had a bunch of caffeine earlier. I'm like I'm all awake. Yeah, so do you just need, I'm using 2 pretty large not Roma tomatoes, like some regular ass tomatoes. I don't know what these are called. Big boys. But if you have the Roma tomatoes, you use just maybe, I'm using 2, you can probably use 4. 4. Tomatoes, eggs. So I got 2 tomatoes and I got 6 eggs. This makes enough for like 2 or 3 servings. I'm using sesame oil to cook the eggs. And yeah, the only other things that you would need that are a little more unique, actually the chicken bouillon's pretty easy to find. You don't need a fancy one. I just got like this dashita powder, but any chicken bouillon, chicken like soup base will do. I said like again. This one is this Chinese vinegar, Chinese black vinegar. Focus! This was something that is non-negotiable with this recipe, honestly. So you don't have to get this brand in particular, but you do need it's a sour soup. You need that black vinegar specifically for this recipe, otherwise it's totally scuffed. So that's non-negotiable. You can pretty much find it at pretty much, I think any Asian market will do. So speak slower. I'm nervous. This is the first time I'm like doing this in-person content. Variety. All right, bitches, let's get cooking. So we're gonna start by making the eggs. Pretty simple. Woo! Toasty. So we're gonna scramble the eggs in the same vessel. It's gonna be a 1-pan dish. Obviously I prepped the ingredients on the side, but you don't need to do this if you're cooking in your own home. You can just put it on the counter. You only need 1 kind of medium-sized wok pan surface to cook this all in. A little sesame oil, just to get the eggs going. Probably a little more than that. I don't know, maybe enough to fry your eggs. You're gonna use the same pan later to make the soup in, and that sesame oil is just gonna only add extra flavor. What's up, comment? This is a little hot. It's coming a little hot. First time using this burner, so I don't know how scuffed it's gonna be. Oh, baby. And we're gonna scramble. Is that a hair? No, it's just broken up egg. We're just gonna scramble it. Why I think this recipe is so amazing is that it's not like a regular soup where you have to let it sit for a really long time. It's really a 10-minute recipe or 5-minute recipe, because after we get the eggs and the tomatoes cooked, you can season it to taste from that point on. So it's really easy to just make to your flavor, to your liking. There's no exact measurements for anything. If you want more eggy, you can add more eggs. You want more tomatoes? If you're a starving college student, this recipe is very much for you. I wish I knew this recipe in college. I would have had a much better time, because I really survived off peanut butter. Scoops of peanut butter for college. It's a cool soup. It's hip, it's modern. If it could, it would have a TikTok account. All right, that was such a boomer thing for me to say. I'm sorry. What's that ticker-talkers that all these kids are doing? Are they all clocks now? All right. What happened to Rollies, Rolexes? So the eggs are pretty close to being done. You're not sure about this? Trust, faith. They are, ow, my arm is almost caught on fire. They're pretty scrambled. Again, personal preference type of thing. They're there mostly as a texture, partially as a flavor. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. All right, pan's going back up. Just a little sesame oil because we want not a whole lot. We already did kind of pre-oil the pan, but we do want the egg. Now this is where we're gonna get all of our flavor, which is the tomatoes. So these are quartered tomatoes. This is like the perfect size. This is the perfect size. Again, 2 to 4 tomatoes. This is where all the umami comes from. Tomatoes are fucking lit. Woohoo! We don't want to burn the tomatoes. I don't know what this is called. It's from my understanding, it's a Chinese dish. I don't know the original name. I learned it from YouTube. I've made it quite a bit. I really like soups, but I don't have time for soups. So this is kind of a compromise. What we're trying to do is kind of melt the exterior of the tomatoes and get a lot of flavor in there. This is gonna bust the umami factor. That's gonna add kind of that soupiness that we all really like. And this is gonna bring in that amazing sourness. Once these tomatoes, now that they're a bit more broken up, a bit kind of separated, I don't want to say goopy, that sounds gross, but basically kind of goopy. We'll throw our eggs back in, give it a moment to get to know each other once again. These are our key factors in the dish. Very good, very good. And now this is kind of a deciding point. So what you do at this point is if you want a more soupy soup, then you add probably 4 to 5 cups of water. If you want something that's a little less of the soupy consistency, you can add less. This is really up to you. I'm gonna add approximately a little over 4 cups. I think he's just messing with us. I'm really not. Kumo, push-ups for Kumo. Please verify that this is not scuffed. This is indeed a good recipe. All right, cool. Now we got water in. Again, 4-ish cups. That was actually only about 3 because I had more tomatoes than I anticipated. I'm making tomato egg soup. We're gonna leave it on simmer just for a little bit. We want the flavors to incorporate and get good. But our next big step, you had tomato and egg? See this, so this is real. Somebody, bun grease, didn't believe that it was true. So the last 3 ingredients from this point on is gonna be salt, the Chinese black vinegar, and the dashi powder or chicken bouillon. Again, egg, tomatoes, water, black Chinese vinegar, chicken bouillon, chicken stock, and salt. How long you want to leave it to simmer is really up to you. I think at this point, it really depends on how soft you want everything. How often do you do cooking streams? This is the first one. Welcome to the first cooking stream. So more to come once I figure out how to cook. This is the one thing I know how to make. That's why we're making it tonight. Let me center this a bit more. Fire. Centered. This is the only thing that I know I'm good at. If somebody's like, hey, we have guests over, can you cook? Can you cook for us? This is it. This is what I would make. If they don't like tomato or egg soup, good luck. They can start. This is the fun part, y'all. This is where we get to flavor everything exactly how we want it. Is there something on the top left of my camera? Oh, this? You mean this? Don't worry about it. It's going great. So right now it doesn't taste like anything. Actually, it kind of tastes bad because it's just egg and tomato water, which is kind of gross. This is where we get fun. Everything from this point on is pretty much however you want to do it. So I normally I wrote it down because again, scuffed cooking. I normally do 2 teaspoons of salt, 2 tablespoons of bouillon, and 3 tablespoons of black vinegar. Everything from this point on is completely up to you. Season and taste as you go. I'm gonna do all the dry stuff first. I don't wanna add too much salt. This Korean salt that I have, this Korean sea salt, is really salty. So I'm gonna go in probably 1.5 instead of normally what I would do, just 2 of like the Kirkland pink Himalayan salt stuff. Heidi, no cap, I'm gonna need you to come down here to verify that my food isn't dog water, because people aren't gonna believe me. I'm gonna be like, it's so good, and everybody's gonna be like, oh, okay, yeah, right, buddy. 2 tablespoons of bouillon. Why do I have so much bouillon? I never use this except for this. 2 shots of vodka. And you can't smell this, but this smells amazing all of a sudden. That's scuffed boy cooking. Really though. That's a lot of bouillon. It's a lot of water. No, the camera! No, it's so scuffed. Oh. Come back. What? Oh, it's overheating. Oh, it's so hot. There we go. So I just added the salt and the bouillon, so we'll see what we're looking at. It tastes, it's so good. Okay, because the eggs are very eggy, and then you have, for lack of a better word, you have the chicken bouillon brings out kind of that saltiness of flavor. And what we're gonna do to combat how kind of salty it is right now is the Chinese black vinegar. Again, season as you go, taste as you go. That's the best part about this recipe. You don't just like put a bunch of shit in a pot, wait 24 hours and realize that it's totally scuffed. You know it's scuffed right away and you can address it. It's too much vinegar, you add more water. Too much bouillon, you add more vinegar. Too much salt, you add more water. It's great. Too much tomato, add more egg. See, you're learning. It's great. That's why this recipe is incredible. You can add beef to this. Like, you can add whatever you want. You can add chili oil. I think chili oil would be amazing with it, but I don't have any chili oil. It needs more. It needs more of the black vinegar. This is where a lot of the flavor comes from. We have some. Is that real chili oil? I thought that was those sun-dried tomatoes. Thanks. Thank you, assistant. Again, so this is our third. So we did 2. We'll call it actually 2 teaspoons of salt, 2 tablespoons of bouillon, and 3 tablespoons of Chinese black vinegar. How we rocking? How we looking? Fuck. I'm so good at cooking this one dish. 4 tablespoons of love. 4 tablespoons of these nuts. Oh, this is the crunchy chili oil though. Oh, the oil out of it? All right, toxic. There's no more oil. You used it all. It's fine. If you have chili oil, add it. We don't have chili oil, clearly. We have chili, not oil. All right, so visually, it's not the most appealing. I will 100% agree to that. But flavor is there. Simplicity, it's there. Scuffed, it's there. Here it is, y'all. We're done. That's it. That's how long it took. Goes on noodles, yes. You can probably use like a linguine or like a regular Italian soup noodle. I used the Chinese one. Yo, cheers. All right, taste test from Heidi, off screen. Survey says, is it bad, yes or no?
No, it's good.
See, it's good. She say it's good. Again, see, flavor to taste, make it how you want it. This is, yeah, now we eat. So we went from cooking to now eating. Now it's eating the eating channel.